Okay, here we are. Great to see everyone. We will be starting in just a minute. Okay, so I'm taking out the echo right there because. Okay. Okay, if you guys can hear me, let me know. I hope everyone is doing great. Last week I had a pretty bad cold, so I'm a lot better now, thank goodness. Okay, and we will be getting started now. Hi Juan. Hi Thomas. Yeah, a lot better, thank you. Alright, let's just get started. So, here I am. So, we're gonna paint this pretty straightforward scenery. This is taken in Victoria. I went to Victoria, BC, the last winter break, and we were walking and we walked past the city hall, and it was this backlight situation, as you can see, and I thought it was pretty interesting, and I haven't really painted like a backlight scenery before, so I took a photo and I plan to paint it. Last night I was kind of bored, so I did a quick sketch on my iPad with Procreate, and as you can see, the bottom drawing, this one is the sort of a charcoal sketch from Procreate, just pretty much like a value study, value grouping. Thank you, artists. Thank you, art. Why I'm much better. So I'll put both of it up, and you can see I changed the composition just a little bit. I make the building a little bit bigger. I make the street a little bit narrower, so there's a less empty space going on. But the essence of it is still the same. And since it's a backlight situation, we have our sunlight very brightly over here. So we'll also try to see if we are able to kind of capture that backlight feeling to it. So, hi chat, good to see you guys. Wish I could paint like me. Wish you can paint like me. I'm pretty sure you will. I'm pretty sure you guys can paint better than me pretty soon. So anyways, I definitely didn't start this way, and I still have a long way to go. I'm just really glad that you guys are part of the journey. So okay, I'm just gonna get started with the drawing. Without further ado, it's great to be back. Okay, let me just open this up a little bit. I just kind of feel like just kind of pushing the. Okay, this is a pretty new block, so I'm gonna fold this right here like that. Okay, so let's just start with the. Okay, so I'm just gonna start with the drawing. Artistically 101. Are you guys having delay or anything? If you do, let me know. Although there's not much I can do, but I'll try to see if I can close some app or something like that. Okay, so I'll just start with the drawing, and very roughly I'm just gonna block out a shape first, and kind of squiggly drawing right now, but the purpose of the drawing is just to get the frame, just to get the big shape in. Okay, visual quality is not that good. I wonder why. Let me see. Yeah, I actually don't know why. Maybe let it buffer a little bit and see if that helps. Let's just try to go through that and see if it's like a little bit better here later on. But if it doesn't, I hope at least YouTube will record like a nice quality later on. Okay, so I'm having it recorded on my end too, so hopefully that will help if things doesn't turn out well. Okay, so again, the first thing that we are going to think about when we're doing drawing is scale and placement. So the scale of the building here, of course, and there's some of the background buildings here, maybe not as tall as the building here, so probably something like this right here. We got some tree foliage here. I'm just gonna roughly block out with my pencil. I'm not gonna worry too much about it. And the street is a little bit of curve there. So scale and placement is the purpose of the drawing, okay, initially. So there's a little bit curvature here, so we might hint a little bit of that, but the sidewalk is coming down this way. So let's say the horizon line is here. Finishing point will be here. So let's use this to draw. Here's the sidewalk here. And we just have some of our directional line there. Okay. We also have our line for the building and such. And that's pretty much it. And let's draw a few blocks for the car. Okay, so I have one car here. I have another car here. So maybe a little bit bigger than the photo, just to push that into the foreground. And okay, I'll make this car a little bit lower actually. Okay. It should be slightly lower than the horizon line. The horizon line is your eye level, so most of the car are lower than your eye level because most of the car, they are not as tall as an adult person. Unless it's like a really tall bus or a van or something like that. The average size car should be a little bit shorter than you. Like when you are standing right next to a car, the top of the car should be around your chest area. Okay, so and I'd have like a figure here. Roughly so, and maybe some couple other figures like that. Okay, so a very rough drawing, and now can start to kind of go in a little bit and to draw things a little bit better. Hi Yash. Okay, so we got a Canadian flag on top of the city hall, and we got this nice building top. So I'm just drawing this a little bit more, how should I say, just to define the shape a little bit better, but by no means I am starting to do a very detailed drawing. Okay. But just trying to get a nice read of shape. We have a huge clock here, So that's something I do want to kind of hint at. Okay, and the clock is on the side as well, so something over here. And yeah, streaming take quite a bit of internet power, so make sure you have a good connection on your end as well. Like, I set up my studio at garage, so I can connect my internet like wired. I can connect wired internet using with like an Ethernet cable, right, with my modem, where my modem is. I'm using fiber optic. It's not the highest speed that my internet provider is offering, but should be fine for the most part. Anyways, okay, so there's, like, if you look at the photo, the shape is pretty much all in the shadow because the sun is here. So this is black backlighting. So if you're familiar with backlighting, it's like the light source is behind you. So it happens a lot when you are taking a photo, like a selfie or something, and when you have lighting behind you, most of the time, the person in front or the subject in front is going to be very dark because your camera is exposing to the lightest part of the picture, which is the back lighting. So that's why in this case, the building seems to be very, very dark because it's actually exposing to the sky there. And it's pretty similar to how we see things as well. If we look at something very, very bright, well, our iris will shrink, our pupil will shrink, and then we're only going to receive a limited amount of light because it's so bright, and the rest of the stuff will just simply to become a lot darker. So that's something to kind of notice. So I will kind of suggest some of the window here, but it's definitely not an important part of the building because it's going to be, a lot of it is going to be in the shadow anyways. So I think here's like a bus stop or something, so try to get that in here. Really close to the horizon, so okay. Excuse me. Okay, I'll do a car here. Back wheel. It's a real wheel here. And oops, this wheel is wrong. The rear wheel here, the tire goes here, and the front tire here. We don't see a lot of front here. Okay, so here we have the car. Now I'm mostly eyeballing the perspective, but it's good to practice this drawing in perspective as much as you can. It's pretty important. Okay, so probably do another car here. A little bit higher than this guy because it's closer to the horizon. And the street is actually going upward ever so slightly. So, okay. There's going to be some other cars here, but I'm not going to do the drawing of that. And let's move on to, hi Chrissy. Good to see you here. Okay, let's do a car here. Now, this car is facing us, okay? And we do have a pretty good reference for this car. We have, if you look at it in the photo, there's a car there. And I think if you look at it full screen, you can probably see it pretty well. It's a BMW. And I'm not a car person, but BMW just have this very distinct front grille here, down here. So like here, it has this very distinct grille like this. I don't know if any other car has it, but whenever I see this two grille here, that's just, you know, it's a BMW. It's a Bimmer. So I'll probably see if I can kind of capture that. Most of the time I don't really define what car is that, but I think in this case might be a little bit interesting to just to give that car a little bit more character here. Okay, so wheel here, but then it's going to be merged, most of it with the shadow anyways. So the important part is the windshield here. Okay, and there's another car parking right behind it, and another car taller, so it's mostly like a van or pickup truck or something like that. Okay, some smaller car here, and not going to worry too much about it. What's my artist goal for 2019? I don't really have a specific goal. I'll just do more painting, hopefully. Be a better artist. It's pretty generic. I'm not a huge I don't really have a New Year resolution. I just try to live day by day, because whenever I try to set like a huge big plan, is usually things doesn't usually follow the plan. But try to live well every day. You know, do a painting, do a drawing whenever I can. Just don't stop. I think that's the thing. Creating a good habit of, you know, painting and drawing. I think that's probably one of the most important thing you can do. Setting big goal it's nice, but I think it's really about what you do every day, and that really helps you. Okay, I feel like this building seems a little bit too tall, but at the same time I don't need to exactly matches the photo in every way as well, so this can be just be like that. It'll be fine. And I'll do like a figure here. Here's the head, the shoulder, so he's kind of walking. Wearing like a typical jacket, and his leg will be probably end up somewhere here. I'm thinking to put some other figure here, but it's a pretty narrow sidewalk. I don't think there's a lot of space for that. So I think that's pretty much it. Let's start. I don't really have a style, to be completely honest with you. Anybody who's familiar with watercolor, like a lot of people just say, oh, your style is pretty close to Joseph Zbukvic, and I am not going to deny that. He's my mentor, and he's the reason I got into watercolor. And style is this really personal thing, and I feel like style should kind of come naturally as we progress as an artist. Like, I feel that, you know, sometimes we're too emphasized on getting like a personal style, and we try to do things differently without first getting familiar with what's already there. It's like a language thingy. I'm gonna turn myself off. It's like a language thingy, because every time, like, imagine you try to create a new language, but you didn't really study any single language first and you just try to come up with something your own. It's pretty hard to do that, so I'm just intended to try to keep painting, see what will come out of it. And of course I learned a lot of stuff from Joseph, but at the same time I infuse a little bit of my personal touch to it, and hopefully it will naturally kind of progress and evolve into something else. That's just the way I look at it. I don't know, like painting for me, I don't like to sound very cringe-worthy. So painting for me is not really, I'm not trying to pursue like a really high holy standard of some sort of artistic vision or something like that. For me, it's just a way to communicate with you guys, with people, whoever that's going to enjoy my art. I don't really have a huge, big artistic vision or like a goal or something. I feel like sometimes when you try to do that too hard, you actually kind of miss out what's originally the reason there's an art, right? It's to communicate visually, it's to tell story visually. Style, things like that, for me that's a little bit secondary. If my painting connect with you, if my painting connect with people, then I did my job. And I think that's something that I want to do. Just making connection, just to help people to enjoy things. And if you watch my introduction video, my goal as an artist is to really connect with people and remind them that lay of love, and connect them with their good memories and things like that. So that's pretty much just my personal goal there. I don't really have a very huge, epic, artistic goal or theory or things like that. I don't know. Just like to paint, and I just hope people enjoy them. That's pretty much it. Inspire you to loosen up the style. I'm really glad. I think just mostly painting loose style is just mostly because I don't really have the patience to do something very, very detailed and stuff. So I think that's why I choose to work with watercolor and choose to paint a little bit loose. So I'm trying out a new color. I think this is like copal violet or something. I'm just trying this color out. I don't know what the color is going to look like. So a little bit of like dark cloud here. Not too dark though. Like while it's still wet, makes like a little bit darker color. And just with the tip of my brush, get some of that cloud in. We try to keep this spot bright though. I think that's the main thing here. So I'm gonna try to keep this part bright, but we can have a little bit of cloud here and there, not a big deal. But we definitely don't want to keep the sky dark, because everything, we want a nice big contrast between the building and the sky. How do I learn from Joseph? Well, I first saw Joseph's work from one of my friends. He's just sharing it online. He's an oil painter and a digital painter, but I think he just appreciates good art in general. So he shared his work, and that's the first time I came across Joseph's work, and I just absolutely love it. Because I like how he can paint things, interpret them so realistically, but yet with such a loose style. So I'm into that immediately. And then I try to get his DVD like a little bit warmer here as we get close to the horizon. So I try to get his DVD and I try to paint like him. Of course, my painting looked nothing like him when I just get started. And I keep trying to practice it and try to get familiar with watercolor. Eventually, I had a little bit of success, and I think it's about like 2 to 3 years ago. Well, it should be 3 years ago now. We're in 2019. I was fortunate enough to be in his workshop in California, so I fly there. It's like a 3-day workshop, but I learned so much there. And just ever since I just after that workshop, my watercolor really changes, because able to see him work in person, it connects a lot of dots for me. Because in DVD and things like that, they cut out a lot of very important stuff, and it's reasonable, because you know DVD only has the size for maybe like 2 hours or maybe a little bit more. So it's not possible to fit into, like, usually his DVD usually have like maybe 5 to 6 demos. There's no way you can fit them all into a single DVD, so they will cut off some of the stuff. Yeah, so the workshop really helps me to connect a lot of dots and make me see a lot of things that have been missing. Okay, sorry, I think I forgot to unmute it. Okay. Well, I'm just speaking some gibberish anyways. Nothing that important. Because I was clearing my throat, so this is why. Okay, anyways. Alright. I also teach art, and patience is overrated. I think certain amount of patience is needed, depends on where you are at your painting. Some places you definitely want to make it a little bit faster. Some places require a little bit patience to do something. I think patience is required when you are building the skill, when you need to paint or practice repetitively to get to that skill level. There's a lot of grind work there. So I think for that part, patience is needed, but not in terms of painting as doing a single painting. You need to spend hundreds of hours on single painting. At least that's not how I work. So now I don't feel like I have to be so special. Yeah, exactly. I think style is something. Style is something. I'm not gonna say style is overrated. I'm definitely not saying that. But style is something that too many artists sort of trying to focus on too much, and it's not because style is not important, but style is like your character, is like yourself, how you speak and things like that. It kind of naturally progress, right? As you grow as an artist, it kind of just happen. And I think what's unique about you and your art is just that you're true to yourself. And I think artists, especially fine artists, you as a fine artist is an important part of your art, right? I'm working at video game industry during my daytime, and I know well the difference between working on a product than working on a fine art. Working on a product, nobody care who you are. They care about the final product, in this case the video game. Working on fine art, they care who made it, what's the motivation made the art, and what's the artist, who's the artist, and what's his vision, what's his mission. And I think that's something that's very important for an artist as well. Not just the painting itself and the paint style, the brush style. There's so many good artists out there. How do you differentiate yourself from other people? You don't really, you just try to be yourself. So that's, at least that's what I tell myself, that just be myself and just try to connect with the people who like my art. And I think that's pretty much, that's the most important thing for me. Alright, I think as I speak, this should be dry enough. Try not to use hair dryer unless I have to. Okay, so the building itself is actually quite warm. It have this kind of a reddish burgundy color. So I'll try to keep it a little bit within the red here. So I'll use a little bit of alizarin crimson, burn umber, and so a little bit more blue. We need it to be dark, but also a little bit warm. So I'm just looking at the color here that I mixed and see if it works out well. And I think it does. Okay. Alright, just making sure I am unmuted. Okay, so let me let you guys able to focus on what I'm going to do here. So I'll just start doing the building here. Okay, so the flagpole, just very lightly. I mean, I already did a pencil line there, and it's still kind of visible, so I'm just going to add just a tiny bit to help it out. And Okay, get that roof in. I don't want to keep this demo too long for you guys. I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want you guys to get too tired by watching me paint for that long. So I'll try to work a little bit fast for this one. Okay, there. Well, since I already did the drawing, I can take a lot of the guesswork out. I know exactly what should I paint, and that's very, very important. Okay. The clock, I'll try to paint around it a little bit, but I actually want to keep it sort of like a soft detail. So what I'm going to do is to grab my brush, grab a smaller brush, nice damp water. It's a semi-dry brush, and I'll just do this here. So create like this nice soft shape here. Okay, I think that should be pretty good. I'll just add a little bit more paint. I don't want this to dry out at all. Okay, I'll hold my brush back a little bit, so try to go a little bit more free. Okay, some brush dance here. Loosen up. You already did the drawing, so it gives you a very good guide and reference of what to paint. So don't be afraid to go loose a little bit. As long as your shape is loosely following the drawing, you should be fine. Okay, I just sneezed, so I had to mute my mic. I don't want to scare you. Okay. But I did forget to unmute. I did remember to unmute it, so. Okay. Yes, I am an artist in my video game job as well. I'm what they call a skybox artist. What skybox does is sort of like an extended environment. So from the name, you can kind of tell like I'm mostly in charge of making skies and a very distant vista, and we're making a sci-fi game, so it's in space. So then I'll make some starry sky, big planet, things like that. So something that I consider a blessing is that something I consider blessing from my day job is that I always need to consider about depths, right? Having depths is very, very important for what I do. So, and this works out very, very well for watercolor because it's all about the depths, especially in scenery like this. Yeah, I have been an artist for quite a long time. You know, not a professional fine artist, I don't say, but digital art long before this. And back when I was in art school, I was doing more oil and acrylic. Watercolor is not a popular medium in my art school because it wasn't really like a commercial medium. Like most of the medium they use at the time is acrylic in most of the studios. And I am not an industrial designer, but when, if I'm an industrial designer, then I'll probably be forced to use gouache, which I hated at first, but now I think it might be a very nice medium to try. It's just like an opaque watercolor, essentially. I'm gonna spray a little bit to keep it a little bit longer. Okay. I think this is time that I need to do it now or never, is to get a clean brush, and I actually want a little bit of soft edge here. Reason for that is I'm hoping to get a little bit of light ray going on here. So I don't know how well it's gonna work, but I'll try. So here, get like a semi-dry brush. Here's a little bit of light right here. I think I'll do another one here. Okay, squeeze out the moisture. Okay, so it's nice and dry. Yeah, okay, I think that works out nicely. Make sure your brush is dry when you try this out. All I'm doing is kind of picking up the mixture there, but I think the both thing, yeah, if I can find one. Oh, actually Victoria has some both, so I'll see if I find any of it there. I mean, I did a Amsterdam canal demo in my course, I think last week. A lot of people like it, so. But that's exclusive for my students, so hopefully I will try to do something like that as well. Okay, so nice and dark. Let me try to continue it on. Yeah, but I think that light works somehow. Okay, so we got this nice bead here, so we can use that to continue my wash here. Okay, it's getting a little bit too gray. I'm gonna add a little bit of red here, just to keep the building somewhat reddish here. So even though I try to skip around, leaving a little bit of random highlight, but you can still tell that I'm trying to paint a single shape here. Okay, so if you are out of time, take a huge big brush and do some big mark, you are actually in business. Okay, I'm just trying to make it look a little bit more sophisticated, but the general idea here is to get a big shape here, and here we go. I try to have something suggesting perspective here. Leaving a little bit of highlight, but not too much. Don't be so, how should I say? Don't make it look like you're so intended to do that. Here we come down here. Okay, this part I actually need to make it darker, so I added some what's that color called? Neutral tint. Yeah, I was trying to look for that word. Okay, so I'll leave this part white because it's like a bust up, and the canopy there, the rooftop there, is catching some light. Oh, very important. I just connect the shape into the rear windshield of this car here. Connecting the shape is so important in watercolor. You group your shape together. Very, very important. A little bit of spraying, keep it alive just a little bit longer. And oh, I didn't like gouache because the way they asked us to use it. I was asked to paint swatches, and yeah, for obvious reason, I don't like swatches. And you can tell by the way I mix color, I am not a big color formula person. And I'll show you a little bit later what have I done with gouache. Or should I say what they forced me to do with gouache. It's not fun. It's really not fun at all. Okay, I think I'm just gonna paint this over. I can use red gouache to, speaking of gouache, I can just use red gouache to get some of the tail light there. I think before this guy dry, I actually want to add a little bit of something here to kind of keep this going into the distance here. There's some buildings here. Gets very light and stuff, but I kind of want to try to connect it. And should grab a Kolinsky brush here, and there's a little bit of, there's some trees here, foliage and stuff. Okay. Push my brush a little bit so you get a little bit of texture here. But see, I just kind of connect them. Ooh, well, focus go out of whack. I apologize. Happens once in a while. Okay, but see, you have the building here and the tree here, and just kind of goes into the distance. Okay, that is quite important. Okay, maybe some cars in the distance. Some suggestion there. I'm just going to use a clean water and soften that edge so it just kind of fades off there. Okay. Well, I'll spray a little bit and just try to satisfy your curiosity. That's what I did in art school. Okay, I have to mix every single one of this value and this color in gouache, and I have to paint a color wheel. And I got a B+ on this. Okay, so no wonder why I don't like gouache. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So I'm going to end this wash here like so. Okay, again, I'm trying to try to make it a little bit darker here and there, but I don't know how dark I can go though, because it's still pretty wet, and I can hint a little bit of window here, some dark stuff down here, and so on. Again, some window here, dark wet into wet detail here. Okay, make sure your mixture is nice and dry, so you can have that nice little details while you're at it, and we'll give it a little bit of architectural details and whatever, some faint suggestions of windows, and then I have a small brush, and again squeeze out the moisture and maybe get a little bit of window frame or something. Not sure if it'll work though. Splashed some water on it actually. Okay, I think that's good enough. Any other style of painting you like other than watercolor? You mean other medium? I mean, I like all medium. I mean, I'm not favoring one medium or another. I appreciate all mediums. Just for me personally, I try to focus on watercolor when I am not working with computer. But I know some wonderful artists working in oil and acrylic and things like that. And believe me, I want to paint like them, but I'm trying to stay focused. So this building here is casting a nice big shadow across. Okay, if you guys can see that in the reference and my sketch. So I'm going to do that here. Do that while it is still wet. I can still trying to connect that shape in. I moved this car here a little bit bigger, so this is going to be in the shadow as well. So here we are. Might try to make it just a little bit darker. I'm gonna use my purple here. See what color it can give me. Okay, darker. So more paint, less water. Here we go. I think this is nice and dark. So, okay. I'm gonna give a little bit of shadow here from whatever this is. But okay. Okay. And this shadow coming across, connect with the car and the shadow of the car. I'm trying to connect everything in at once. And I hope I have enough time for that. Okay. And this building here, I'm actually going to just have another shadow here as well. So perhaps something off the frame. Here's something else as well. Okay. Okay. Just fill that in here. Okay. I need a smaller brush for better control. Okay, so here we have that. This shadow comes in. I'm going to connect with that and just go in to the bottom of the car here and just connect it to the back. So I want to paint a nice big shape in one go. It's a little bit of challenge, but I think this can work if I do it fast enough. So I'm currently not looking at the message right now for this reason. I apologize. Give me a few minutes after I finish this big wash I'm trying to do, big complicated wash that I'm trying to do here. Okay, so okay, and the stuff here. In this car, casting a shadow going onto the sidewalk, so it has a little bit of a level height difference, but the shadow continues nevertheless. So we'll have some shadows here. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can use the paint left over on this squirrel brush. It's holding a lot more water because it's natural hair. This is a synthetic hair, so it doesn't hold as much water. But this, yep, I think this work better here. Okay, I'm just gonna get this windshield in while I am painting this wash. Okay, the windshield on the back. Sorry, under time pressure here, so I am trying to get that all of this in, and a little bit of little hints of the cars on the back here. Okay. Yeah, I have a website. I mean, it's you know, in my YouTube channel. You can go check it out. But it's just www.cafewatercolor.com. I try to keep the name consistent, so hopefully it's not going to be too hard to remember. Oops. My hand got some paint and it's getting on my paper. Adding some water and I can just kind of blot them out, but a little bit of dirt, on the paper, I think that's fine. Okay. I'm trying to get a little bit of the directional line back though. So here I'm gonna do that, and another one here. Okay, now I think this is pretty much done. Even if it's not done, it's best not to go back to it. This is the stage that I just leave it alone. Even if you don't like it, even if I don't like it, I'm not completely satisfied with this, just leave it be, okay? If I go back right now, I'm ruining this nice, transparent, beautiful wash. I don't like some of the shape that I did, but this is watercolor, okay? That's what you need to do, just to leave it alone. So I'm gonna work on this, guys. And just let the rest of it just to settle down themselves. Okay. Okay, a little bit too blue. I'm gonna try to add some red back. Yeah, I don't want it to be as warm as this, but I also don't want it to be so blue and out of place. So. Okay. Try to be careful not to get to people's head here. So I'm trying to leave some highlight here on the top, and okay, the building top is flat, but that can be a little bit boring, so I'm just decided to add something here. So maybe air condition, water tank, whatever it is, just something of an interest on top rather than just like a flat top. Okay, taking some creative license here to do a little bit of change here and there. Okay, leaving some suggestion of the window. These two buildings, because the road is curved, they are sharing different vanishing point. So I am not, I'm not measuring everything. So I'm eyeballing a lot of stuff, and because they are in the background, I'm not really worried about them too much. A little bit of, okay. Okay, some down here. Try not to touch this, so I will have to paint this with my hand hanging on the air here. Okay, so this is just a little bit of hint and suggestion that there's some more cars here, and some suggestive details. Okay, perceived detail is what I'm doing here. So they are just different shape, dark and light shape, but because there's a car in the front, you start to read them as cars as well, hopefully. Yeah, I mean, I can use a Kolinsky brush, but usually because this is like a man-made object, and they're usually stiffer. So a synthetic brush like this is a little bit easier for me to paint a stiffer shape. There. Finishing that one up. Okay, think. Okay, a little bit warmer dark here. And with the tip of my brush, I'm adding just some stuff here and there. And as long as I am doing this inside the wet area, it's not going to go out to the dry part of the paper. Okay. Okay. Break this horizon line a little bit. Okay, a little bit of spray, break it up a little bit, and some dry brush, see if I can get some line out. Okay. I think this is as good as it gets here. I do think I should. No, actually I don't. Okay, leave it. Good to just leave it. Okay, this is still kind of wet. I'm going to mute my microphone and I'm gonna blow it dry with hair dryer. Okay, give me a moment. Actually, I will paint the tree, but they will be just on the corner here as sort of a little foreground element. Okay, I'm gonna work on the figure a little bit. So, like a nice warm, I'll add a little bit of burnt sienna actually. It's like a nice warm color for the face. Okay, this is still wet. Okay, they got the bead there. I'll try not to touch them. So I'll anchor my pinky here. There's a little anchor here, and okay. Not that saturated. That red is a little bit too saturated for this painting, I think. So a little hit here, and have another hit here, and another one here. Okay, and I'm just gonna grab some of the color here to get like a sort of a neutral gray color, and from bottom up, I'm just gonna sort of do this. I'll give it a black jacket, so just straight neutral tint here. Okay. Shoulder here. And just keep the brush stroke nice and loose, and don't start to dab like this, okay? As much as the figure is quite small, you don't dab. Okay, Jack is around here. And give it like a blue jean, so I add a little bit blue color here. Just and I'm just gonna use a damp brush, and I'll fade it off here. See, I can just fade it into. See, I can just fade it into the shadow here. Okay. We don't need to make everything super defined here. Okay, so keep a little bit of highlight here. This back figure wearing a turquoise color, and the bottom I'll just very loosely give the leg here, and this figure just very nice and loose there. Okay, a little brush stroke. There's a leg, and that's that. Okay, got ourselves some figures here. Monochrome painting. I don't know. There's some colors. It's just warm and cool. I'm not really a color person. I mean, if you look at the photo, I'm trying to be faithful to that, so it's not a very colorful. It's not a very colorful photo. It's not a very colorful scenery indeed. I'd rather have less color, but it look more unified than color all over the place. And I'm not really how should I say? I'm not really good with color anyways. You can tell by how much I hate doing color swatches. I mean, if the painting is calling for a color, then I'll absolutely do it. But in this case, I don't see it being a very color-driven piece. So, okay, this feels a little bit too clean. I'll use a little bit of water to kind of soften this up here, down here. And, I think I will give it a little bit of hints of reflection here. So. something here. Okay, let me zoom it out a little bit and got a little bit scare of red. Okay, let's have some dark down here. So the car feels it has more weight. So like down here, like that. But at the same time, we, like, here may be a wheel here. And there's a car behind it. And another car, like so. Pretty loosely stated. And it's pretty dark here. So I'm gonna use a nice clean brush, clean water, just to kind of give it a little bit of softening. So a little bit of water. It's dry here, okay? I just blow it dry so I can kind of do that, and it'll just kind of softly comes down like that, okay? Because I don't want it to be a hard shadow here. This car, I can actually give it a little bit of turquoise color here. Seeing it, the car in the photo does have a little bit of turquoise tint to it, so I can kind of do that right now. I'll come back and use a little bit of gouache for the headlight here. And the car here, I will, same thing, I'll just give it a little bit hints of, it's a wheel here, it's another wheel, dark down here. But I will use a water to kind of connect that. So just, I really like that brush stroke. So do everything that I can to keep it so have that. So a little bit hint there. See you later, Valkyria. Valkyria, it sounds like Valkyrie. Like a nice northern mythology angel. Very nice. Okay, very nice name. All right. Okay, so a little bit hints, rear view, very mirror here, and okay. So here is just like little touches that I do to hint some more stuff there, but in terms of the whole picture, it's pretty much there. Okay, I pretty much did what I want to do with this painting. So here are just some couple, I don't know, figures, whatever, just something there. Visual noise, I think, is what I'm trying to do here. Okay. I think a little bit of, I think now is a good time to do a little bit of a tail light here. So I'm just gonna have a red wash, and I'm just gonna do this. Okay. Red and a little bit of orange, actually. I'm just using it straight out of a tube like that. Okay, you see Joseph does this all the time. And here's the part people judge me that your painting looks just like Joseph. And first of all, my painting doesn't look like Joseph. My painting's not even close to his painting. But second of all, I am trying to learn from him, so sorry about that. But this subject is definitely something I captured it myself, and it's my own interpretation. If you bring Joseph to the same area, he will do an entirely different painting. So I take that as an excuse. Okay, anyways. Let's step back looking at a painting. So I hope you guys feel the light now. Look at that light. We see a little bit of light right behind the building, and it's casting huge shadow across the whole painting. And I think just a few things can just add a little bit more hint, suggestion of shadows and here and there. This can help the overall message of this huge light going on. Okay, now it's just a matter of some detail work, giving this guy some hair, otherwise they're all bald, not fun. And give this car a little hint of headlight, even though it's parked. Even though the car is parked, but I think giving it a little hint of headlight would actually be kind of nice. Okay, and now if you look at my sketch, I actually bring some of the signal here. So I'm gonna see if I can try to do that. I think it will kind of connect things across, but at the same time you'll add a little bit more depth as well. Okay, so just gonna have that, and very, very carefully. Let me actually try to zoom it in a little bit. Very, very carefully get a nice thin line there. Okay, so maybe another. Try to get like a nice dry brush here. Okay, one maybe here. Okay, so a little bit of something here, and I think a couple final touches here. We're gonna let people know that this is Canada. So what's the Canada flag looking like? A red here, dot of red in the middle. Here we got a Canadian flag. Oh, Canada. I don't know how the rest of the song goes. Okay. When did you really start painting watercolor? Your videos are also good. Thank you. Technically speaking, I started watercolor maybe 4 years now, 4 to 5 years now. Probably 4 years, I'll say. I'm just starting to get a little bit more serious on watercolor. But something I really, again, I want to state that I'm painting with other medium before that, and to me, different medium is just different tools. What really makes you an artist is what you see and what you have up here. So very, very important that don't get kind of tied up by the medium you're using. The most important thing is your artistic vision, learning to see things, learning to interpret things. And I think that's the most important thing that you want. Okay, I'm just going to get a little bit of tree here. It's like a winter time, so it's not like a very lush looking tree here. And I might still do some leaves here and there. I'm not quite sure though. Okay. I have one branch coming out like so. Small one here. Okay. Okay, I'll give it a little bit feeling of foliage, not much though. Okay, just gonna use my brush to get some texture in for me. Like this should be kind of dark, but at the same time I don't want them to be too dark. They're just kind of like a foreground elements here, so they should be just kind of supporting the composition, and that's it. Okay, so I'm not gonna do the tree trunk and stuff here. I think that would be a little bit too distracting, so I think this is as good as I want to make it. Okay, and okay, feels a little bit empty here, so I'm gonna add a little bit of happy little birds just kind of flying. But also what's really important for these birds are their space, they're making space. So once you put those in, the sky is starting to have some depths. You start to feel there's some space going on. Okay, this can be a little bit bigger. Okay, just a few less touches. I want a little bit of thing here. Okay, I want to give this sidewalk not exactly a shadow, but some sort of occlusion. So here's what I'm going to do here. So I did a stripe here, right? So I'm gonna use clean water, just gonna soften this here, like so. Can be a little bit darker on the edge here. Okay. And that brings this up a little. Okay, that little bit of shadow now gives it a little bit of depth here. So just something here. I'm gonna blow this dry, completely dry, so I might do a little bit of glazing on the bottom, and we are Yeah, I think I might do a little bit cloud. I think the sky might be a little bit too blank here. Okay. In terms of the figure, I think it's just because this car is kind of throwing this off, and can fix. Well, I'm not gonna try to fix it, but I'm just gonna add a little bit more dark down here. Hopefully, try to make this car a little bit taller. That can hopefully somewhat make it look a little bit better. I mean, that happens. Kind of happens once in a while, because at the same time, like, the leg is not really defined, so it can be kind of standing here. Anyways, yeah, should make the figure a little bit shorter, but you know, it's kind of like an odd position here. Okay. Anywho, okay. I think that kind of hides my mistake a little bit, and I'll do a nice quick glaze here. I'm gonna actually use a little bit of purple just to kind of cool it off a little bit. I don't know, I never really used purple before, so this is actually my first day playing with this color. But here, yeah, I think that's a little bit cooler. It's kind of nice. Okay. Nice clean glaze over, okay? And then something here as well. And okay, I'm gonna get that in here. Actually gonna glaze this part too. I'll leave this stripe somewhat light. Okay. Remove the tree here. I don't know, I like the tree. I'm not gonna remove it. Sorry. Can't please everyone. So will you be forced to buy paint online? Their main store is still going to open in the downtown, so I'll probably just like go there once in a while. It's not a really long drive, it's like 20 minutes, but the traffic's really bad, so I'll probably go there once in a while and stock up my paint and hopefully that will be enough, I hope, so I can avoid going there often. But yeah, it is pretty sad. I really like that location there. So wetting some part of the sky, see if I can get some dark cloud in. But again, I really hesitate to get everything dark. I really hesitate to get the cloud too dark. But, you know, just a little bit of breakage for the sky, so it's not so clean cut. Turn the painting over just a little bit so the paint doesn't all drip down like that. I did a little bit of spraying and I think that should be it. See the paint kind of flow down naturally, so try to rotate it a little bit because I painted at an angle, so this can kind of help. Keep this part a little bit lighter here. I'm gonna dab it out with paper towel, so that should still be a nice bright spot here. Okay. Alright, that's it for me. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. It's a fun painting. It's good to be back too, so hope you guys enjoy that. Hopefully I'll do another one next week, but apart from that, anybody else has any other questions before I sign off? And yeah, I'll try to do another quickie video this week. I have quite a few of older recording of a time lapse that I do, so I think I'll try to make use out of it, and by try to kind of edit them and do some quick voiceover. So hopefully that will be. Thank you, Joso. Arigato. All right. Thank you guys so much. I will see you guys very soon, I hope. Thank you very much. Bye.